it was a funny story. I started working with a guy, my partner in IOG, my musical partner, and he told me that in a store close by our studio, they started to sell iwi, and he said maybe I should go and check it out. So I figured, all right, we went there. And I thought, all right, it will be cool playing some electronics, playing on all the jazz, like from the saxophone, the jazz phrases and stuff, and probably it will be easy. And I went there and I couldn't play anything because it's so different. So I was just trying to figure out how it goes with the touch and everything. And but it was I was curious enough to bring it home, and then I started practicing more and more on it, and got to know it. On the iwi, I use actually 3 different sound sources. I connect all of them into a mixer, and I use their balance to create like the whole mixture of the sound, which comes out as one. And this whole thing I pass through effects that are here, and then out to the mixer. So basically what I use is the internal iwi sound. I edit them on the ViseX program. So software, so I edit them there, and I also use a analog synthesizer, the Morpho, which is here. And I also, mainly my main synthesizer that I use to create the timbre of the sound is a plugin called Omri by Spectrasonics. It's this one. This one, and I navigate between them with program change, and I switch between them, and every sound has its own mixture of volumes, and it's like all on different levels to create a big whole. This is my little analog friend. It's called Morpho for monophonic. And it's by Dave Smith Instruments, and the way I use it is usually to complete the sound image from my software synth. Usually I create sound on the software plugin, and then I give it the depth and more power and more like frequencies with the Morpho, and it responds really well to the iwi, and it can cut through the mix better when you are with ensemble. It has, of course, these analog vibrations, so I really love this one. And on the software, on the computer, I use my software synth. My main plugin that I use is called Omri. It's by a company called Spectrasonics, and this synthesizer is a world for itself. Actually, it combines a very good synth and also a huge sample library. And on each patch, you can combine between 2 different layers. You can choose to combine, for example, 1 layer synth and 1 layer sample. And for example, like that. For example, a sound like that. It's a combination of some whistle sample with a square wave sound. So you can get all those combinations together. When you put it with some kind of square wave, for example, with the Morpho, you can create this kind of mixture that is new and full also in the sound. The last sound source that I use is the iwi itself. I use it a lot for the bass sound that I do, and sometimes for the leads. I love the attack that the response from the iwi itself. I feel there's something unique. And another part of my equipment is the effect rack. This is the whammy. I know probably a lot of you know this pedal. It's a great for using also with the sax, and an analog delay and a small looper that I use a lot for drones, like. Also here, this is the controller soft by Keith McQueen. It's a MIDI controller, yeah. It has tons of possibilities, and you can also connect an expression pedal. So what I use in the expression pedal is, right now I assign to it mostly reverb and some delay also, which I use also an analog delay here with some modulation, so I use two different delays, and I have another looper here. So basically this is my touring setup that I use. This is the things that I use mostly right now on stage. And that's it. I try to keep it light as I can, you know, so I can travel easily. Yeah, that's First of all, I think it expands my horizon. First of all, my limits. I can do stuff that I would never be able to do with the saxophones. Like, you know, going. The first stuff I can think of is like going, you know, do sound effects like this. And I also like to do bass, or sometimes depends on the kind of show I'm doing. But generally, what I'm looking for is not to imitate the saxophone, but creating something different. You know, that's something personal and different. And since it's less, I would say, less known territory, the whole iwi world, you can get very personal with it. You can go to very deep places with your heart and mind, and I love it. To be honest, I never owned any one of those. I only had my 4000S. I have two of them, and I tried the 5000. It's a very good instrument. Personally, I like the fact that you can edit sounds on the Visex and to modify them a bit. But it's also, the 5000 is a great wind controller to control other synthesizers, of course, and also the USB is great. Also, the Aerophone I've never tried.
Okay.
So
maybe another question. I saw that you switch sounds very easily on the stage, on the iwi. How you do that?
Okay, this actually I do with I'm using program change of the iwi. What I do is, like, at my lower register here on the octaves, when I press this button, I can change I can send different program change. And for example, I have and you change the number of program change you send by pressing different notes. Or for example, D will be sound that I use for bass, for example.
Mhm.
And I can, for example, I will press another note, it will change to. Or. So you just press, each one of them is different note, it switches pretty
Great.
easily. And,
Great. Thank you.